Hello, my name is Jeff Stackhouse. I work for the University of California Cooperative Extension as a livestock and natural resources advisor in Humboldt and Del Norte counties. Today I'm just here to talk to you a little bit about one of the prescribed fire options is the prescribed burn association model. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the model we've created up here in Humboldt County and the success we've had. And then after that, I want to get into the economics a little bit because it's very important to consider the economics of prescribed fire because we have other viable options that we can use to manage vegetation on our landscapes. So with that being said, I kind of want to start with this slide, and that's that the Humboldt County Prescribed Burn Association has burned 1,200 acres since 2017. In terms of acres, that's not a whole lot, but I think it's important to take note that, 40-acre bites aren't particularly small either, and that, starting at a scale that's comfortable for you as a private landowner and gaining the experience and training necessary to safely conduct these burns with yourself and your neighbors is important. So starting small isn't necessarily a bad thing, and when we talk about prescribed fire and success around prescribed fire, acres aren't always the best way to quantify success because it's a lot about fire behavior, it's a lot about objectives and how those objectives are being met, and the pre-fire condition of the landscape and what needs to be done to safely conduct those burns. So to start off, kind of going backwards a little bit now, the Prescribed Burn Association model is not a new model. It actually is one that was stolen from California back in the day. They, in the turn of the century, they called them range improvement associations across California. And there were some folks from the Midwest that came out, primarily John Weir at Oklahoma State University. He came out to California, saw these models, and then replicated them back in the Midwest and called them Prescribed Burn Associations. And then fast forward 50 years, myself, Laney Quinn Davidson, and a landowner, Dean Hunt, and then an NRCS employee, Matthew Cocking, we kind of invited ourselves, I guess, out to the Midwest and went burning with two successful Prescribed Burn Associations back in Nebraska. And it was really an eye-opening experience. We've talked a lot about it. We've talked about the options of fire and how you really kind of, were limited then in California, but it wasn't really a limitation. It was more of a mindset of limitation. But at any rate, we went back there, saw neighbors helping neighbors, and it was really like going to a branding in current day California. And we came back and we said, well, heck, there's no reason we can't do this here. So we did our first burn on Dean Hunt's property a couple months later, which was in June of 2017. And then we decided, let's see how this thing goes. Let's see how the permitting is. Let's see if we can, garner some interest with the landowners and other groups. And, we officially formed in March of 2018. Now we're one of the top 2 largest prescribed burn associations in the nation, according to John Weir, with 80 plus paying members and about a 350-person email list. We have over 10,000 acres of projects identified on ranches, private lands, and timberlands across the county. And we formally formed bylaws and have a board of directors. But it's been decided at this time that we don't see the need for a nonprofit status because we don't need a lot of money, and the money we do need, we have other ways to have those funds kind of trickle down to the organization. So I've talked about this a little bit, but what is the Humboldt County Prescribed Burn Association and who is it? It's really this neighbors helping neighbors model. Like I said, it's similar to range improvement associations, similar to brandings. But I think what's key and what's different about the range improvement associations to the Prescribed Burn Association is that it's a diverse membership, right? We have timber landowners, we have ranchers, we have small ownerships, people with little 40s or even less. We have people that don't own any property. And then we have people like the Save the Redwoods League and other environmental groups that are interested in using prescribed fire for the ecological benefits. So I think that diversity really carries a lot of weight with it, and I think it has the ability to kind of mold the culture, if you will, or garner interest from other corners of the county. And really, it's serving as this great melting pot where people are able to share ideas and concepts. And we're burning for all sorts of different reasons, which I'll get into a little bit. The other group that's been absolutely necessary for us to do our in-season burns, which I'll talk to you more on is the volunteer fire departments. We've had great CAL FIRE support locally, and that has now trickled across the North State, thanks to our local partners there. And then the other thing that we'll do is, especially when we were just getting started, and even now for our bigger, more complex burns, we hire private contractors as needed based on landowner comfort with liability and other things. So those folks have been great, and there's a few options across the state for hiring fire experts to help lead your burns with your people. And then the last thing is we try to incorporate as much university research and education and outreach as we can with each of these burns. And I think it's really important that it's recognized by the Burn Association and its members that every burn is an educational event for someone, including everyone, I guess, because every burn is going to be a little different. Every weather window is going to be a little different. The more we do it, the more we learn. And it's really important to take the new people that haven't been on any burns and pair them with somebody that has more experience and kind of foster that education and comfort around fire. I just wanted to touch again on the volunteer fire department's involvement in all their work. Everybody that's a volunteer fire department member is welcome to be a prescribed burn association member at no charge. Without these guys, we wouldn't be able to have the equipment required to meet our CAL FIRE permits in many cases for in-season burns. And they have all the right PPE, they have all the right equipment, they're eager to get out there. Most of them are physically fit, ready to go, and it's been great for them because they get experience and gain comfort with fire. And it's been great for us because they've been probably the best partner that we could ever ask for as we move forward with these burns and keeping them in the box. So getting back to that funding, how does it work? How does the funding happen? Well, this is kind of the basic take back of it is that the California Deer Association has donated $39,000 or so to purchase a burn trailer's 3 slip-in units, which are these pumpers that slide in the back of a pickup, as you can see in that lower left photo. They've helped us purchase 42 high-quality radios with its own radio frequencies. So that way, we have communication, which is probably the most necessary attribute in doing private lands burning for people's safety is communication. And then they've also purchased us 2 pumpkins, which are basically these self-filling water tanks. So you can basically use a garden hose to fill up a 2,000-gallon tank over a week. And then we can throw a transfer pump in there and not require us to have a water tender on site in some circumstances. The other thing we have is we have a CAL FIRE grant that is currently funding some burn planning, volunteer fire department training, and some additional equipment. We are careful about taking state funding and federal funding because of the CEQA and NEPA requirements that we can avoid if we don't take those dollars and put them towards any ground disturbance. The other thing I want to mention is that some of our federal partners locally have donated used equipment that doesn't meet their standards anymore, and that has also been great help. Other than that, we have $25 per person per year is what we charge for our membership dues, and that really just goes towards food and drinks for our annual meeting, and a little bit extra for some equipment maintenance that undoubtedly happens and needs to be done every year.